Hello and welcome to this radio control quick tip. This quick tip is all about antennas. Well, antennas and TPU mounts. It's becoming very common now for very compact quadcopters, particularly racers, to have a TPU printed mount at the back that actually has the entire antenna embedded in it. And there's lots of these very small antennas kicking about that are very compact, and the idea is to keep everything in one place and to keep the antenna out of harm's way, because having it stuck up like that is obviously going to get knocked every time you crash. However, putting the antenna completely inside a TPU mount is a really bad idea, and I just want to explain this to you and show you some of the reasons why. Now, you think that TPU, and that's the flexible filament that you 3D print with, would be completely transparent to RF. But in fact, it causes some pretty wacky stuff to happen. So let me show you the results on a network analyzer and actually talk you through what's going on here. So here we are looking at two plots. Don't worry, this is very complicated, but I'll try and make it as easy as I possibly can. The two plots that we're looking at, the blue plot is the plot with the antenna outside of a TPU shroud, and then the yellow plot is the antenna inside a TPU shroud. Now, this is actually one of the AX2 antennas on test here, but hopefully what you can see is if you look at M2 in the top left hand corner, which is the frequency that the antenna is transmitting on without the shroud, it's transmitting at 5,549.3333 megahertz or 5.54 gigahertz. It's not a particularly well tuned antenna, this one, but bear with me. If you put the same antenna in a TPU shroud without doing anything else, without changing the band, the frequency or anything else, the frequency drops by 165 megahertz. And that is M1 on there, which is 5,384 megahertz spot on. It's actually changed the VSWR. So in the blue plot, which is the one without the shroud on it, it's down at about 1.0. It's coming up to about 1.25-ish, something like that. Now, anything below about 1.5 is still fine, but you can see that not only is the TPU attenuating the FPV signal from the antenna, it's also shifting it dramatically by 165 megahertz. Now, 165 megahertz might not sound a lot, but that's putting it well outside the range of the bands that we can use. And it's similar to trying to fly with a video transmitter set to one of the race bands and then managing by sheer fluke to find one of the fat chart channels that's close enough, thinking you're okay, and going off and flying. And what will happen when you're very close, within about 10-20 feet, you'll probably be all right. As soon as you get further away from that, and that's the reason I'm making this video, because in the drone show that I was at, I was overhearing lots of people complaining about the reception they were getting with their FPV kit. And a lot of them were using TPU mounts, where the entire head of the antenna was actually buried inside the TPU. And I suspect that's actually what was happening. The TPU was changing the frequency that it was actually transmitting on and slightly attenuating the signal as well. Now, this is probably a big surprise if you use TPU, because like me, until I had all these test results, I kind of didn't believe it either. But if you want to mount these kind of antennas in TPU, then you have to have the TPU stopping at the balun. Now, the balun is usually underneath the two elements inside a pagoda antenna. So there's the two elements, then there's the balun. So what you need to do is mount it like you see in this image, where the majority of the antenna is still clear of the TPU, so that it's actually transmitting on the right frequency. So hopefully, if you have been flying and you have that situation where the antenna has been embedded in a TPU mount and you've been getting really crappy FPV reception, I expect this is probably why. If you found that video useful or like the content, then please hit the like and subscribe button down below. If you want to go the extra step, you can become a Patreon of the Painless 360 channel and help provide support for what I do here. All the videos created here are put into playlists, so if you're interested in a particular topic, have a look at the playlist, and they all are organised in there to make them easier to use. If you're not sure if there's a video for your particular problem or topic you want to know more about, then add Painless 360 to the Google search term that you're interested in, and that should find the video, article or content about the particular thing that you're interested in having a look at.